Hey, no, because you. Trying to, yeah. You can.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I will call the May work session to order. Welcome those that are in the audience and those that are watching online. It's a beautiful day outside. Madam Clerk, would you kindly call the roll?
Mr. Dwyer,
Here.
Mr. Hunter, Mr. Parrott,
Here.
Mr. Reed,
Here.
Mr. Vincent,
Here.
Mrs. Amos,
Here.
Mr. Cole.
Here.
Thank you, ma'am. The registrar is with us, and I will ask her if she would, she wants to come forward and address council at this time.
Good morning. I thought I would attend the meeting this morning just as if anybody had any questions about running for the, I got ready to say May election, the town election in November. The deadline is coming up to file for candidates, June 21st, 7 p.m. Those who are running at large are mayor, 125 signatures, town-wide. So redistricting, you don't have to wait for any of that. The ones with the wards are actually the ones that might be the issues with redistricting after the deadline. So, but I'll be around afterwards if anybody needs to ask anything or needs anything from me.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Chief?
I have one question.
Mr. Reed?
You said we have issues after the redistricting?
Yeah,
Or
so
like-
when I had spoke earlier and I said that if you're running it in a ward to try to stick where, you know, on the maps where might be not be any changes. So say you have your signatures, you get qualified, and then we redistrict, it might knock some of those signatures if they moved, you know, to a different ward off of your petitions, and then you wouldn't be qualified to be on the ballot.
Okay,
So
thank you.
that's the only scary part. Anything else?
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Chief?
Good morning, everybody. Just want to give everybody an update. Last week was a very eventful week. It never pays to take a week's vacation. As you're aware, we had a bank robbery last week, and we were fortunate enough to apprehend the suspect in the wooded area behind the bank on South Main Street. Kudos to the officers and our fellow partners for a quick response and setting up a perimeter that until we got definite information of which way the suspect went, and they were able to apprehend him coming out of the wooded area there. Prior to that, early that morning, about 3 o'clock, had a B&E here on Main Street at the Attic Pawn Shop, where approximately 36 handguns were taken in less than a minute. I'm excited to inform you that officers worked diligently throughout the day yesterday on what was a minuscule lead that quickly snowballed and worked throughout the entire night last night, and are still working at this time, and have made 2 arrests, and they have recovered 8 of the firearms so far, and there's a 3rd person who they're seeking to apprehend at this time. Again, this was great teamwork, not only by our police department, but our communication center, communications officer Farley worked diligently throughout the day, reviewing camera footage on Main Street and surfing social media from leads that the officers were getting in the field that actually brought all this together. So I just want to commend the entire police department and our communication center for an extraordinary job. Well done. And ATF, our partners, Buckingham, Sheriff's Department, State Police. It was a collaborative effort by many organizations.
Great job, and as we've often said, if you don't want to get caught, don't do the crime in Farmville. So it's the record of catching or solving cases is phenomenal, and great work to you and your team. It was a week.
It was. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on with our regular order of business. Item 3 is presentation of the capital improvement program. Mr. Davis.
I don't have a big presentation, Mayor, members of council. I have provided you a copy of the next 5-year capital improvement program for capital items and operational capital. Obviously, I've presented to you the proposed budget. So for next budget year, you have what is in the capital improvement program is allocated in the budget. And then for those years prior, this process is for planning purposes so that we can plan future years out to know what we have coming in future years as far as expenses for items that are, I'll call them big ticket items, expenses for us to fund in future years. If you have any questions, let me know. The goal is to approve the capital improvement program in June. When you're set to approve the budget and a lot of other yearly approvals during that time of year for the next annual fiscal year.
Any questions on the capital improvement budget? If not, item 4 is request authorization for the town manager to sign a paving contract, which you all have. Are there any questions on that? If not, do I hear a motion?
Move that we authorize the town manager to sign the paving contract with Adams Construction.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Item 5, discussion of the 4th of July fireworks event. Is that Mr. Vincent or Mr. Davis?
I got it. We moved forward. I had the vendor, Dominion Fireworks, come and look at the roof. As I had shared with you last time, it is a doable, as we have known from looking at it with the previous year, Heart of Virginia. They provided me since then with a quote. You have that as well. Well, actually a contract. So I'm going to ask you to authorize me to sign the contract. For the fireworks display, it's $12,000. We have some responsibilities. They have some responsibilities for the show. Also, dealing with the show, we have had one initial, I'll call a committee meeting, where I invited obviously certain department heads that are involved in it and also some community partners. One being Mr. Perry Carrington, who has, ever since we started the fireworks show, has been involved in getting us entertainment, the food, and other vendors and things of that nature, coordinating all of that. And so he's still on board and wanting to help us with Fireworks After Dark has been our name for, I don't know, it was way before I was here, so I guess when it started. And then I also invited some other community partners, since it's going to be held downtown now. I invited Farmville Downtown Partnership to have a seat at the table, and also the Chamber of Commerce, so that they can help us with the business community and also with part of the festivities and being involved in that. And so we had our first meeting on Monday of this week. Went really well. And so we're going to meet again next week. We'll have some more things to go over, more details. But it looks like right now, the event will be from 6 to 10 p.m. We'll close off most of the same streets, maybe a few additional, as we would for the Heart of Virginia Festival. We wouldn't close off High Street as far as we traditionally do. Probably, we're talking about right now to Venable Street. And then also, we've been approached by a restaurant that may be interested in having a function along with the festival on the High Street, North Street area. And so I have a few more meetings to work some of those logistics out as well. But it looks like we are on course to have a really new venue area, and I think it'll be a really neat experience this year.
What are you planning for marketing of the event, Scott? What's the plan to get the word out?
We talked a little bit about that. Actually, I have been a member of the FDP. It was already doing some design stuff, and so we have something sent to me already that will roll out on social media, and we'll put things in the newspaper, the radio. But we're also looking at putting up, when Longwood and Hampton-Sydney College come back into town, we usually have large banners welcoming them. We're also going to look at putting up new banners on those sites about the fireworks display.
Good. You basically got 2 months, so you got a pretty short window for marketing there. So you're gonna have to roll pretty fast.
I don't think it'll be any issues with people coming.
Good. All right. We need a motion to authorize Mr. Davis to sign the fireworks contract.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next item, discussion amendment to the zoning and subdivision ordinance.
You all will remember that about 2 years ago, next month, you all approved, after a 20 to 22 month process of a new comprehensive plan, a new zoning and subdivision ordinances, and so they've been in effect for just about 2 years now. And over that time, it doesn't matter, you'll never get everything 100% like you want it. So over time, we've seen things that need to be adjusted with having a new director of community development in the planning area. We've seen some areas that we may need to add or adjust as well. And so I'm going to send you out information about, we're going to do this in a phased approach. Some are higher priority than others, but we plan to make and work with the Planning Commission and the Council on making some adjustments to that ordinance. We're working in partnership with the Moton Museum because they're trying to get a designation that is very difficult to get, but would set them on the map worldwide, not just nationally. With the Park Service, it would be a worldwide. It's a World Heritage Organization, and so that's a priority for us to look at an overlay gateway district for them, so that in the future that there's not development that would harm the historical characteristics or in the vicinity of it. We also have looking at a planned unit development area in town. Not that we're going to redistrict or rezone anything, but to have that as an option to where you can have a more we've talked about housing. Obviously, we've had a housing coalition group in action since the mayor first had a roundtable discussion about this about 4 years ago. And so that lends the opportunity to do diversification of housing, of having multifamily, single-family residential, some mix of businesses in there that any current zoning ordinance would not allow. And I think, if we're looking to enhance ourselves as we continue in Farmville and draw a diverse population, diverse housing styles, and a mixture of age diversification in Farmville, I think this is a way of doing that from a zoning standpoint. There's many other ways. I mean, we have some community design standards we've reevaluated. Signs, some of the signs may need to be a little bit larger for buildings in certain commercial districts or things of that nature. And so these will be coming in phases in these changes, and just wanted to give you some notice that what we've seen, and I'll get this list to you of what is going to be coming in the near future.
Any questions? All right. Item 7 is other matters that may come. Mr. Davis, do you have some specific things you want to report on?
I have one, Mayor, and I knew it would. Well, actually, first one, before I get into that, I do have one before I get into some other business. One is we have our new finance director on board, so if Julie will please stand so I can recognize her. Her first day was April the 25th. That she joined us as Director of Finance, and we're very fortunate to have her, and I'll be putting out a press release today about her being our new Finance Director, and so I want to thank her for being with us. The other piece is when I discussed the proposed budget, one of the big items to take into consideration was the closure of the golf course, and that I had put out information to other golf companies that have leased or purchased golf courses in the past nationally, and with no results at this point. Since then, I've had two individuals contact indirectly, one interested in seeing if they could continue and lease the golf course, and the other being purchase of the land. And then since then, also, I think all of you have received some emails or direct contact, and maybe even some of you have heard of somebody else wanting to purchase the land as well, other than myself. So what I thought I would share is there seemed to be, in some of the conversations, whether we really have a loss or not. And so what I want to provide you with, since Julie's been here, I have asked her for us to reevaluate the numbers and give you also a little history. If you remember, I mean, this was originally a golf course that was started by the Longwood Country Club Incorporated when a large tract of land was purchased in 1967. It's had 3 or 4 owners since then, one being the town. What I would share with you is that the history of a little bit more than I went into on the proposed budget, and that is, when this was purchased, there was purchase of property, inventory, there was a renovation of the pool, there was purchase of equipment. The town put in golf cart paths, repaved the golf course road, renovated the grounds, and all of that was in a bond. And then we also renovated the banquet hall. That was about $1.9 million of investment. Since then, we have some capitalized assets of a little over 300. So I would tell you that between the purchase and improvements, we have probably a little over $2.2 million invested in this piece of property. And I can assure you, from 2017 on, if you flip to the next page of the information I've provided, when you add in what our bond payment is pertaining to this piece of property, the interest on the bond payment, including all the expenses each year combined, and you calculate that with the revenue, we have never come anywhere close to being profitable. I will share with you that I do not think, I still stand by that we should sell the property, try to get what we can out of it, and close it, and instead of continuing to operate in a huge deficit.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. With that, I will say to council that I've had a couple of folks, one really good prospect, reach out to me about purchasing the golf course. And we had this discussion last year. Mr. Davis thinks we had this discussion in finance. I thought it was actually at council. But before we can sell anything, we have to get it appraised. And so I would like for council to officially go ahead and authorize Mr. Davis to get an appraisal. Because the number one question is, what do you want for it? Well, we don't know what we want for it. And the other question is, you know, do you have it appraised as a golf course, or do you have it appraised as land? What I would say is appraise it at its highest and best use. If you tell the appraiser, we want to do this appraisal, and appraise it at its highest and best use. If that's a golf course, great. If that's land, great. You know, we want to get the most money for the taxpayers out of it that we can. So what are the thoughts of council?
I'll make a motion, we follow through with it.
All right. Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. So, and I know I sent you the name of an appraisal firm in Richmond. If you don't have that, I'll be glad to supply that again. And there's some other appraisal. I mean, it'll have to be a Richmond, it'll have to be an out-of-town appraisal firm, because there is no one locally who can do it.
Yeah, and part of a few things with that, we can take unsolicited purchase requests. We would still have to have an appraisal. And with the appraisal, because it's a professional, we still have to put out a request for proposal. And it has to be out a minimum of 10 days. But we would have to do the process of hiring an appraiser through our procurement of a professional services. And so we'll move forward with that.
I have no problems. And actually, I told the person that reached out to me, just what you said. We don't have a price, but if you want to make an offer, you're certainly welcome to make an offer on the property. And we still have to get the appraisal, though, before we can do anything. Any other questions, comments? Anything else, Mr. Davis, on your list? Madam Treasurer, anything else? Welcome again, Julie. Chief, you good? Anybody else have anything? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Ayes have it. We're adjourned.